Hello, I'm Mark Sullivan. I've been a solicitor working with Malaine and Lindsay for 40 years. In the 1980s, I regularly addressed Rotary Club meetings on gifts and loans to children in the context of family relationship breakdowns. Then, many retirees were considering ways to assist their children purchase homes. I was frequently told that as a parent, they wanted to see their children enjoy some of the benefits of their hard life whilst they're alive, rather than after they died. I often replied, how wonderful it is to be in a position to do that. But beware of the pitfalls, especially if the gifts or loans were not documented. Whilst all hoped that their children's relationships would be long and harmonious, my experience as a family lawyer suggested otherwise. Parents lending or gifting money and property needed to be aware of how it might be treated if their child's relationship broke down and there was a property settlement dispute. Those pitfalls continue today. In 2019, the fifth largest money lender in Australia was the Bank of Mum and Dad, lending a whopping $90 billion in that calendar year alone. It's likely to have increased since then, and there's been no outbreak of relationship happiness in recent times. COVID has had a factor in that. Relationships are still breaking down with the inevitable disputes over relationship property. I was often asked if there was a difference between a gift or a loan to a child. My response was, definitely. When money or property is gifted to a child, it generally means that the parents have no expectation that it will be repaid to them. They give it absolutely and lose the right to seek repayment from the child. If their child's relationship breaks down, the money or property that was gifted would generally form part of a pool of property to be divided between the child and their spouse partner. Whilst it will be a relevant consideration that the property was gifted by the parents and was a contribution by that child's family, there's no guarantee that the child will receive the full benefit of that gift. And in my experience, this upsets parents greatly. When money is loaned to a child, there's generally an expectation that the child will make repayments pursuant to an oral or written agreement. If their child's relationship breaks down, the money or property that was loaned should generally not form part of the pool of property to be divided between the child and their spouse or partner. There's a strong argument that the debt to the parents should be repaid before the remaining assets are adjusted between the child and their spouse. In such circumstances, the parents have a better opportunity to recover their money and may also be able to re-advance it to the child at a later time. Another popular question was, what are some of the complications about gifts and loans? Well, people's recollections change. In the absence of clear and unambiguous documentation, there are disputes about what was said, to whom, and when and where. Money advanced as a loan might be suspended on unemployment or the birth of a child. And there may be confusion as to whether the loan is continuing or has been forgiven. In certain circumstances, loans cannot be enforced after a period of 6 years. Parents may simply not want to become involved in litigation between the child and the parent of their grandchild. There are also legal presumptions to the effect that if a parent purchases an asset in the name of the child, the asset is presumed to be a gift to the child, not a loan to the child, nor that it's purchased on trust for the parent. That's a topic for another day. Some of the solutions to this problem are: loans need to be formally documented. They must include an intention to be binding, whether there is to be interest payable and the rate, the term of the loan, including whether the full amount is payable within so many days of demand, any security to be offered in respect to the loan, such as a mortgage or charge over the property, or a right to place a caveat over the title to the property. The advance should be from both parents, should one die. The lack of security may be fatal to the question of the enforceability of the loan. Parents and the child need to be transparent in their intentions. Ideally, they should also involve the child's spouse. This will measure expectations and help to reduce the risk of potential litigation. It will assist the argument that both parties should bear responsibility for the liability in circumstances where they are both aware of the liability. If it is intended that property is to be transferred or advanced by way of gifts, parents should keep a chronology, setting out when the gifts are made, and their intention to benefit their child. This should be supported by corroborating documents preserved in a safe place. If the gift is intended to be conditional, then there needs to be a statement in writing setting out the conditions. Alternatively, contemporaneous notes about the conversations between relevant parties, including what was said, by whom, and the place of those conversations, need to be retained. If you would like further information about this topic, please get in contact with us at Mullane and Lindsay.